like it was a pencil, okay? As opposed to how we're taught to hold it with a foil. We want to have a little bit more control over it because I'm literally going to put it up against the head and draw a check mark, okay? So hold it like a pencil. And if you can't see, I'll be doing a couple of these, so please feel free to come as close as you would like. I did wear deodorant, so it should be good. Oh, good morning. Thank you. How you doing? All right, so here we go. First check mark. Right up against the head. You don't have to put it on her scalp unless you don't care for it. Stepper. No, that's not nice. Don't put that on. Oh, God. I forgot I'm being recorded. Here, okay, great. All right. Right up against the head. There's my first check mark as I messed it up. Boop. There we go. So when you look under, see the little V shape or the triangle or you want to call it? That's what you're creating, okay? This is the size that is recommended for that more diffused look. So I didn't go too far down and I didn't go into the hairline. That's something else important to remember, is when you're creating your first section, if you're doing a true balayage and you're not doing anything along the hairline, when you make your first check, don't take it all the way down into the hairline, because what's going to happen is it's going to look spotty down there, okay? So just a very light movement. There we go. This is going to be a single. Oh, can I borrow your paddle?
Yes.
I have a question.
Please, ask away.
I have a client that gets the stacked cut and the dramatic angle.
Yep.
She gets peekaboos,
Yep.
but I only do them in the front. Is this something you could do in the back and it not look spotty?
I would not.
No?
I still would think it would look, because remember that the majority of the color is being saturated on the ends of the hair. So I just feel like with shorter haircuts, like even, turn, let me see the back of yours. No, yours is long enough.
Anything about like
Yeah. I probably
cut to the
wouldn't-
hairline?
See, like down here, I probably wouldn't do it on this part of her hair just because it's short and I'd feel like it'd be a little spotty. But everything up, I would.
So you could do it up here and it not look stripy or weird?
Absolutely. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to get the product on the brush. Now here's where we have to practice to be very neat colorists. So if you're like me, you're naturally a messy colorist, and I am. I admit that freely, so I have to work on my neatness. When you're applying the product to the brush, remember your brush is going to be held sideways or perpendicular to the section of hair. So it's really important that the product is applied to the side of the brush as opposed to here, because we're literally going to sweep it on, okay? And that brush is still a little messy, so try to be as neat and clean. And the reason is because we don't want any of this extra color to get on the hair and create spots. So there's the amount of color I'm going to use. Fun? Okay. All right, so here we go. Whenever you're applying or doing this technique, keep in the back of your mind, we're going from nothing to something. So we're going to apply less color towards the scalp, more color towards the ends. So when I'm sweeping this on, especially up here, I shouldn't saturate the color through and through until I get to about mid-length. Then I'm going to saturate the color through and through the hair shaft. Make sense? So at the top, it's a very light sweeping motion. Remember, I'm going from nothing to something, meaning less color up here, more saturated towards the ends, or the mid-lengths and the ends. Where you decide to start saturating the color is all going to depend on where you want to start seeing the heaviness of the color. So, I mean, I could actually sweep it here, and then right here start to get saturated down more, because you want to see that color that high up. Make sense? Or I can even just saturate it down there, because I just want the color on the ends. Just depends on what you're trying to create. Okay? So sideways, perpendicular. Remember when you're making your parts this way that they're wide and they're not super neat and clean. So wide subsections, not super neat and clean. Okay? It's okay to be messy. Sideways, perpendicular. I'm just going to sweep. So it's not saturating through and through. Here's where you're going to pick up your paddle, lay the hair on the paddle. So whenever you're ready to saturate the color through the entire hair strand is when you're going to pick up your paddle. Again, the brush is going to be sideways or perpendicular. And I'm going to saturate, saturate, saturate. Don't be afraid to add a lot of color or product to the ends. Also, it's recommended, especially when you're working with long hair like these mannequins or this mannequin, is to keep you from having to step way far back If you just take your paddle and start lifting it towards you as you're applying the color, it makes life a lot easier for you. I also like to apply a little bit to the underneath to make sure that it's saturated through and through. So I'm going to show you.
Would you apply in the base color, or would you do that before you do this?
Yes.
Good question.
That is a great question. So if there was a base color, I would do